Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, I am honored to address you today on this important topic. You know, credit ratings impact the development trajectories of African countries by defining the cost of development financing. They influence the extent to which development partners can actually support critical investments on the continent. Borrowing from capital markets to finance economic development is a necessity, and everyone is doing it. And especially as official development assistance flows to African countries have actually been shrinking in recent years. It is therefore imperative that we find a way to make credit rating fairer for all African countries. A 2023 UNDP report that we titled Lowering the Cost of Borrowing identified biases in credit rating methodologies, translating into higher borrowing costs for African countries. Our analysis shows that African countries could save up to $74.5 billion if credit ratings were based on less subjective assessments. This figure is actually more than 80% of Africa's annual infrastructure investment needs. That it's estimated at $93 billion. This not only constrains Africa's development spending, but also contributes to debt stress and macroeconomic instability. Many cash-strapped countries are put in a difficult position of having to choose between repaying debt and feeding their population. This report has laid the foundation for an informed action plan that will lead to a more inclusive and more responsible credit rating system for African countries. And so today, we are proud to launch the Africa Credit Ratings Initiative, which aims to strengthen the capacity of African countries to navigate that complex global credit rating systems effectively. Through a dedicated online platform for policymakers, a group of expert advisors, and a community of practice, our ambition is really to equip African countries with the necessary knowledge and tools that they need to navigate this complex world of credit ratings and address the current systemic biases and limited data issues. We're proud to partner with Dakar-based Africatalyst on this arduous but potentially transformative journey. Beginning with pilot countries like Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, this initiative will enhance transparency, improve ratings, and ultimately reduce the cost of borrowing for African nations. A series of workshops across these three countries will convene officials from the ministries of finance, of statistics offices, central banks, and other relevant authorities to enhance their knowledge and understanding of sovereign credit ratings from a development perspective. Our end goal is to lower the cost of borrowing for African countries. When we do that, we free up resources for critical development projects that will drive sustainable growth and prosperity across the continent and help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. For Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, this initiative could be quite transformative. Potentially, they could save up to $5.5 billion in excess interest payments and unrealized lending. So yes, the task is daunting, but with your support, we could help transform Africa's development landscape. And I want to close with an Ashanti proverb, which says, "Do not let what you cannot do tear from your hands what you can." It's a reminder for us to focus on what can be achieved rather than being discouraged by what cannot. So let's remain resilient, let's remain proactive and resistant to the business as usual approach. Thank you, Asante Sana, and I wish you all very fruitful discussions.